So welcome to this morning's practice. And as you tune into your physical body, we are moving through the koshas. In yoga, we recognize these different realms of our being. They are known as these sheaths, these layers that get more and more subtle as we move through them. And we always start with kind of the material body's the densest form of matter. So start to feel the texture of the body, your body. And just notice how it feels this morning. Sometimes there's different qualities, isn't there? It can feel stiff or it can feel quite open. And then start to breathe quite slowly. And as you breathe slowly, start to bring the Urjai Pranayama. This is the Anandamaya Kosha. We'll move a little bit and stretch out a little bit, and then we'll go into the Pranayama Kosha because it can really affect the rest of your practice. So let's just start off with just tuning into how you feel, and you can attend to your body, your breath. Notice what's in the mind space, and it's interesting to notice the mind, the Anandamaya, because there's so many different things. There's the kind of tone of the thoughts, there's the quality, types of thoughts, the speed of them, kind of expectations, whether it's lurching off into the future somewhat or harking back to the remnants of fragments of the past coming in. Now, we're going to start to move a little just so that we can activate movement and breath to warm up a little. So bend your knees and we're going to do dynamic bridge. And we do it nice and slow. So have your hands beside you and make sure that your kneecaps feel this sense of alignment from your ankles all the way up towards your knees and then through the long bones and down into the hips so that you can feel the back plate of your sacrum and have a sense that that's balanced. Sometimes we tip to one side. So start off with a sense of being balanced between your left and your right foot, the back of your pelvis, and also the shoulder blades. So when you draw a line all the way up with your awareness and you come to the shoulders, notice whether you happen to be rolling onto one side and just make that little adjustment. Just feel that you can balance out. Now, it may not be perfectly balanced, that's fine, but just get a sense that you are a little bit more balanced than when you started off. Okay. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath pour down into the belly. Take your time and then slowly exhale. Good. Now, on our next inhalation, we're going to lift the arms. They're parallel. We're going to lift the hips at the same time. We breathe in, and it's almost like these arms sort of act like bellows to help the breath pour in. And as you exhale, roll your spine down. Your arms come down too. See if you can coordinate the meeting of your sacrum with your little fingers, okay? And we're going to breathe like that a few rounds. So inhaling and you lift up, pressing into the feet. Neck is free. You can feel the back of the shoulders, back of the head as your arms come back. And then roll it all the way down. We're going to do that a few times. So this is Anandamaya Kosha, the material body, the food body. This is what we feel. This is our first kind of point of contact, if you like. And then we have the breath to animate this body. That's the Pranayama Kosha. And then within that, we've got the mind space. So that's the Anandamaya Kosha, which is very much governed by our senses. Our senses are taking information and feeding the mind and telling it things, and we're receiving that. And oftentimes in the mind, we tend to be more reactive. We'll react to what we see, feel, touch, hear, pretty much straight away. It's very kind of subtle, very quick. Good, very nice. Now the next time you lift up into your bridge, see if you can just hang out, just pressing through the feet, and then you can soften through the elbows so the arms are kind of wide beside you. Make sure those shoulders, you could extend the arms, or they can be almost like a sort of cactus goalpost shape. Keep pressing into the feet, and then see if you can get a sense of lengthening your spine. So you feel like your hip points are lifting, and now your glutes are very much switched on. So we need to support this lifting up with the back body. So you might feel your hamstrings engage a little bit. Just pause and hold that. But you want your spine to be lengthening. Good, really nice. Take a deep breath in, hold that. And then exhale, roll your spine all the way down. Now we're going to do it one more time. Inhale, lift up, and then you're going to hold for 3 breaths at the top. Now, as you do this and you breathe, got about 2 more breaths. Just feel what you need to do to make this more comfortable. 1 more breath. And then exhale, roll down. So that discernment starts to get into what we call Vajra Kosha, which is that part of us that's got wisdom. Now, hug your knees in towards your chest and squeeze, and do a little rock from side to side. And we'll start to pay attention to the hamstrings. So grab your belt, and then extend your right foot up towards the sky and loop the belt around the balls of the toes, and then take your left foot onto the ground. Good. Balance out the pelvis again. So imagine that you're pressing your femur bone straight ahead of you, and your right sit bone is moving and lengthening away from your back. Good. Now from here, as you inhale, bend the knee, so the knee comes in. As you exhale, reach your heel away, and your foot is flexed. You want to make sure that you're not locking the knee. So we just do that a few times. And then extend your left leg long. And as you do that, curl the toes up towards the sky and slightly roll the big toe into the midline, and continue to bend the right knee and extend through the heel. So we're warming up the hamstrings as we do this. Your arms, your shoulders are relaxed down. The arms could be a little bit bent, or they could be straight, with reaching up as high as you can. Good. Take the straps into the right hand, bring your left hand onto your hip. The pelvis is level. In fact, just almost press it down a little bit. Good. And then turn your right foot, if you can, 45 degrees externally, rotate it so the toes are turning out. And you'll feel a kind of a sensation maybe on the outer calf, quite unusually. Good. And then I want you to turn the toes in, and it's almost like you're trying to screw the femur bone into the socket. So just turn, internal rotation, external rotation. Just swiveling the bone into its socket. Good. And then keep the foot turned out 45 degrees. Keep lengthening through your left heel. And then bend the right knee in towards you a little, and then take the leg outwards. The right leg outwards, pause. Bend the knee in towards you, straighten the leg a little, and then take the leg a little bit further out. Now, we're doing this incrementally. Normally in this Supta Padangustasana, what tends to happen is we take the leg straight out, and then the left hip rolls up. But what I find is that if we coax the hamstrings, then they will start to open a little bit more, rather than trying to straighten the leg and take it straight out. I find it doesn't work in the morning when it's cold. So you'll take the foot as far as it goes without lifting that left hip up, and then pause to your maximum where you feel your edge, and then just breathe. Your deepest breath. Gravity will assist the leg opening out, so you support it with a strap. Good. And then on your next inhalation, feel like your belly button sinking into the body, and then lift the leg up towards the sky. Cross the leg over. You're going to switch hands. So left hand holds the belt. Take your right thumb first onto the hip point. The right hip point, press into the thigh muscle. And you might keep it there as you take the leg right the way over to the left. So you'll roll onto your left hip a little bit. And then you'll get right into the glute and the big connective tissue that wraps around the leg a few times. I've got about 3 layers of very thick connective tissue wrapping the whole leg. So you're getting into that connective tissue. breathe. If you've got space and you find your foot can touch the ground, that's up to you, but try hovering the foot up off the ground, then connect that in to your core and just draw that in so you can stabilize from your center. And then come back to center. Lift the leg up towards the sky, and then see if you can just bring the leg a little bit closer to your thigh, a little bit closer to your body. Good. Let go of the strap and reach your arms forward. We're going to lift the head, so take a deep breath in, draw the belly back, and as you exhale, we're going to lift up and stay for 3 breaths. So inhaling, good, and exhaling. So as you inhale, you can soften the breath into the back body. As you exhale, you reach forwards a little bit more. 1 more breath. And then release your head back down. Now, lift your left leg up, and then you can meet the right, and then release the right leg, and you've got the strap over your left foot. Pop the right foot down. Hold the strap into both hands. Good. Pelvis, back of the pelvis is level. Just make sure that is. And then just take a sense of rooting and lengthening your left sit bone away from you. And then inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, extend the leg. Good. When you're ready, you can slide that right foot away from you to lengthen that right leg, but with awareness. Pointing the toes up towards the sky. There's a lot going on here really in our yoga. We're having to expand our awareness. So you bend and stretch that left leg, feel into those hamstrings. There's a lot going on that we need to pay attention to all at once. And that's what the yoga helps us to do. It helps us to expand our awareness. So your right big toe is rolling in as you lengthen out through the inner ankle, and that will help you to stabilize the hips. Good. Now keep your left leg still. Hold the strap into the left hand and then turn your foot 45 degrees, externally rotating. You'll feel a sensation maybe on the outer seam of that leg, and then turn the toes in. And it feels like you're kind of swiveling the femur bone into the socket. Do that a few times. Right hand roots onto the right hip, bend the left knee towards you, and then just take the leg out a little. We do it incrementally. Don't let that right hip rise. So you inhale, you bend the left knee, extend the leg, straighten, and then take the leg a little bit more outwards. So do that a few times. Now as you do this, the reason we're doing this incrementally is quite often people will just pull the leg out without thought. So what's happening here is you work incrementally. You can discern for yourself. This is Vajra Kosha. Is it wise for me to just let the leg leap out over to the left? I might do myself an injury, which might scupper the rest of the practice. So we don't want to do that. So we're just using our discernment to just take time to feed back from the body. Should I be doing this today? And the body and the muscles will feel different at different times of the day. So morning time, we've got to be a little bit more conscious. Bring the leg back to center. And we're going to switch the strap to the right hand. Now, taking your left thumb over your left hip point, make space so that when you rotate over towards the right and roll towards your right hip, you can extend that leg long. Your left arm can reach outwards if it wants to. Keep the shoulder down. I quite like to hover the foot, even though I can take the foot down to the ground. It's up to you. You get quite a twist here. But I like that feeling of just drawing in that femur bone into the sockets. So you can try that and then just stretch. So you're using your core as well. Now, engage the core, come back to center. Let go of the strap and hang on to that actually, and bring the leg a little bit closer and see if you've got a little bit more give on the hamstrings. Let go of the strap now, reach the arms forwards, breathe in. Exhale, gonna lift up. Scoop and hollow the belly out and keep that as you breathe. Inhale, 2 more breaths. Exhale, good, inhale. And exhale, 1 more breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, release your head down, set your strap aside, okay? And straighten both legs down, so you're stretching all the way. Reach your arms back behind you And then walk your feet off towards the right and place your left ankle on top of your right ankle. And then reach out through the left heel so that you can get that nice side body stretch. The right hand holds the left wrist and pulls you over to the right in a banana shape. Come back to center, hands, body, legs. Pause at your center. Maybe have a look down and see, are you centered? Walk the feet off to the left a little bit. Plant your right ankle on top of the left ankle, and then just get a bit longer on that leg while you stretch out through the heel. Find that nice little bit of a fulcrum on the right side of the body, and then veer off to the left. Left hand guides the right arm over, and breathe. It's a really nice way to get into the, open up the intercostals. Come back to center. Bend the knees, hug the knees in. If you're feeling strong in your lower back, you rock up and down a few times like a rocking horse. If you're not, you roll onto your side, come onto all fours. Really nice. Now as we rock up to boat pose, you want to lift your breastbone up, belly towards the thighs, and we're going to point the toes up towards the sky, squeezing the knees and extending the arms and holding it here for 3 breaths. Inhaling. If you want to take it further, you can extend the legs. Exhaling. Good. 2 more breaths. Inhale. You can always bring the hands down. Exhale. 1 more breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Very nice. Pop the feet down, turn onto all fours. I'm going to move my shawl out the way so we can come up into downward facing dog. Start to pedal your feet. So as we move through the layers, we've actually got to the 5th layer. The 5th layer is the Anandamaya Kosha. It means the bliss body. We've gone beyond the material aspect of the body, the mind, the intellect, the wisdom. There's another layer that's a little bit more subtle and a little bit deeper. That's probably a layer that you can get in touch with when you meditate, actually. So this morning's meditation, some of us might have got that sense of inner peace, inner calm, that sort of sense of eternal feeling that everything is actually okay. It's very subtle, almost imperceptible. We're going to rock forwards to a plank. Inhale as you do that. Collarbones are wide and the shoulders move away from the ears. And then as you exhale, push into the ground and reach your hips back. We'll do that a few times. If this is too much for your wrist today, then you don't have to keep rocking forwards. You might just stay in your down dog and shorten your stride to take the weight out of the wrist. So let's rock forwards. Push into the ground strongly to lengthen through the arm bones. Reach your hips up and back. Bring the knees down. Good. And then plant the forearms down, turning the palms up. And just want to curl those fingertips in and lift the knuckles up. Good. So we could almost say that the Anandamaya Kosha, it's known as the bliss body, right, is what we might call the soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter, which is about self-realization, come into downward facing dog. Swivel the hips from side to side. It describes this Anandamaya Kosha, and it says that weapons cannot cut this, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, and wind cannot dry it. You know, it's just, you can't, it's nothing to do with the material. Right leg lifts up, inhale. Exhale, step your right foot forwards, come into Anjaneyasana and lift the arms up. Draw your hips back, so we just want to feel that alignment of our spine and the chakras. Interlace the fingers and press the palms up. And then maybe just frame the ears and draw your breastbone up towards the sky. Kind of a small back bend. Exhale, palms down, step it back to down dog. Left leg lifts up, just get really long there on that leg. Step it forwards as you exhale and bring the right shin down, lift the arms. And see if when you thread the fingers, do the opposite forefinger in front and then press the palms up. And then reach your hips back and take your arms back. Lift the hip points into the body, support your back bend. Exhale, bring your hands forwards and step towards the top of the mat. Good. Hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, fold, and then rise up to stand. Now bring your hands to your heart. We're going to pause in our Tadasana. Just take a moment here and see if you can just contemplate this idea of the Koshas before we start moving again. Soul. When we talk about the soul, what does that mean to you? You know, spirit, energy. What does it mean to you? And then from this place, I want you to set an intention for your practice, something that has meaning for you today. Maybe elevating your mind space, something that gives you a little bit of upliftment, hope, guidance, spirit, whatever it is. Good. And then as you inhale, sweep the arms up for a sun salutation. Exhale, forward fold. If you like this idea of drishti, you can work with a drishti, hands to your shins. Inhale, halfway lift, maybe bringing your attention to the third eye. And as you exhale, look at the top of the mat, step back to plank pose, either a half plank or you hold it here for a breath. Inhale, fortify it. Exhale, we come all the way down, maybe in one piece or knees down, and let your belly touch the earth, your chest and your chin. Legs are straight, firm them up. Inhale, Cobra Pose. We just start off with a light back bend. Push into the hands, press up to downward facing dog. Chin in, look at the space between the toes. Pause there, we take 3 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Inhale. A full exhale. And then when you inhale, bend the knees and start to look forwards. Maybe you hop step as you exhale, top of the mat. Hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift, and see if you can just keep the chin in. Good. And as you exhale, fold, looking up at your belly button maybe. Inhale, rise to stand, looking up at the thumbs. Exhale, hands to the heart, look at the horizon. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Look at the thumbs. Exhale, forward fold, belly button. Inhale, halfway lift, third eye. Exhale, step back to plank, top of your mat, and keep looking at the top of the mat, coming all the way down again for another cobra. As you inhale, we look at the tip of the nose or third eye. Press back to down dog. Look at the space between the toes. Hold it here, breathing in. Breathing out, feel the balance between both hands, make sure it's even. Breathing in. Balance between the feet, breathing out. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, you hop, step, top of the mat. Hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. We're going to rise all the way to stand. Lift up, thumbs. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to sit down into chair pose. So lift your arms up and wide. And let's do a twist, but hug the belly in, lift the hip points into the belly. And we're going to twist to the right. Lift your right arm up towards the sky, inhale. Exhale, palms together, prayer. Inhale, rise all the way to stand, back bend. Let's sit back down and do the other side. Move along with your breath. Bring the weight back into the heels, twist. Inhale, arms split. Very nice, good. Exhale, bring the palms together. Inhale, let's rise all the way to stand. I'm going to exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back with your left leg. Come into Untitled. I'm going to lift the arms all the way up, thread the thumbs. Keep reaching up through the fingertips. Press down through the right foot, 4 corners. Press down through the left shin. Now lift your heart space up as you root the tailbone down. Let's come into a twist. We're going to split the arms first. So turn towards your right and reach your right arm back behind you. The left arm forwards. So it's almost like you're making the sign of a cross here. Very nice. As you exhale, spin the arms down and step it back to plank or a half plank. Good. Now pause here in your plank because we'll just do a little bit of core work here. If this is too much, you just bring your knees down. Now breathing in here, and as you exhale, press the knees down, just tap. Inhale, you hover the knees up a little bit as you push into the hands. As you exhale, straighten the legs into plank. So we're going to repeat that. Good. Inhale, plank. Exhale, tap the knees. Inhale, lift and hover. Exhale, straighten the legs. Inhale, plank. Exhale, tap. Inhale, hover. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, pause. Exhale, tap. Inhale, hover. Good. Straighten the legs as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So just one more if you want. If this is too much, you pause, you breathe. We're going to take it back to down dog. Well done. Downward facing dog. Well, hopefully that helps you to feel strong in your body. Reach the right leg up and back, bend the knee. Open up the hip as you draw your left inner groin towards the midline. We're going to step that right foot back as you extend, turn onto the outer blade of your left foot. Reach the right arm back behind you. Exhale, we pivot back around, lifting that right leg up, and we're going to step it forwards into a high crescent lunge. Take your time to come up. You might step the left foot leftwards and a little bit forwards. Find your feet and then lift the arms straight up towards the sky. I'm going to work with breath here a little bit. So bend the elbows outwards. We're going to do some arm presses, 3 of them. Exhale, bring the forearms together, palms meet. Shoulders down the back, inhale, open the arms wide, elbows back a little bit to squeeze those shoulder blades. Good, exhale, forearms meet. That's the second one. Inhale, arms open. Open the chest, breathe. Exhale, forearms together, and then on your inhale, lift the fingertips up towards the sky. The palms lift straight up, arms straighten, and we'll transition into warrior 2 as you exhale, turning around the back heel and extend the arms nice and long. Good, and we're going to reverse our warrior, lifting the right arm up towards the sky. We're going to come into side angle, either supported, or you can use your block on the inside of the right foot, which is really nice to press into and lift up and out of, and then you sweep the left arm over the head. Now as you do that, notice that it can be quite right leg heavy, so press out through the left foot and reach your left hip back, and you'll get a really good stretch on that left side seam of the body. Very, very good. Exhale, we're going to bring the left hand down, pivot on the right heel as you turn your toes in for a wide-legged forward fold, bowing your head down, walking the hands back, and leave the weight forwards to the toes. Some of you, if you've got a tripod headstand, this would be a moment here where you might even come up into your headstand. That is an option, you don't have to. Good, we take 2 more breaths. If you're in your tripod headstand, you can start to float the legs down. Inhale and exhale. Now as you inhale, lift your chest and walk the hands forwards, lengthen through your spine. Listen up, we're going to do all the same thing, but turning to face the back of the mat. So pivot on your left heel, facing the back of the mat, right? And we're going to step the right foot forward. So you're facing the back of the mat, hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, fold, and as you inhale, sit into chair pose, lifting the arms. We're going to twist to the left first. Right elbow on the outside of the left knee, palms together. Inhale, left arm lifts. Exhale, palms into prayer. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Lengthen, engage your bandha, sit down chair, shifting the weight back into the heels. Twist to the right, left elbow. Inhale, right arm lifts. Exhale, palms together. Lift the arms straight up towards the sky, back bend. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, step back with your right leg this time. Bring the right shin onto the mat. Inhale, arms lift. Just thread the thumbs. Really, really good. And then we're going to come into a twist, looking to the left. So you're going to reach your right arm forwards and take the left arm back. Good. Now, keep your pelvis nice and level, hug the belly in. Very good. And then as you inhale, lift the arms up towards the sky. And we're going to step back to plank pose. So we're going to do that plank work, that core work. If you don't want to, it's too much, you could do it on your forearms. Tap the knees, exhale. Good. Inhale, hover. Exhale, straighten the legs. Good. Inhale at the top. Exhale, tap. Inhale, hover. So you're engaging your bandhas. Exhale, extend the legs. Inhale, pause. So it's completely up to you. In, and then you exhale, you tap. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, hold. Exhale, tight. Last one. Inhale, hover. Exhale, straighten. Inhale. Good. Press back to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts up. Inhale. Bend the knee, open the hip, and you come into your flip the dog. So again, you can bend the right knee and then lift your hips up, chest up. Exhale, spin back around. Left leg lifts. Step it forwards. High crescent lunge. Take your time. Arrange your feet so that they are hip width apart. Back heel is lifted as though it's got a high heel. Lift the arms up. Back leg is straightish. So you want to be balancing on the balls of the toes, lifting the arms high and bending the elbows out to the side. Left knee is bent. So we'll do those arm presses, 3 of them. Exhale, forearms together, palms meet. Inhale, shoulders slide down the back, open the chest. Exhale, forearms together. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Now palms in prayer reach up towards the sky as you inhale. Transition to warrior 2 as you exhale. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, side angle. If you need to just grab a brick, you can. Inside of the left foot. Hug that left hip in and under as you barrel your chest open and reach the top arm up and over your head. Good. So fingertips are reaching forwards. The right foot heel is pressing down strongly and you're pressing out through that right hip. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Very nice. Good. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Now, we're going to take the arm behind us. Lift your chest up a little bit. Straighten the front leg and pivot on the heel. And you can take the left arm behind you and bind, folding forwards. A few things you can do here. Turn the toes in a little and lean the weight forwards. And you can lift your arms up towards the sky. So you get a good shoulder stretch here. Roll those shoulder heads away. It's almost like you're rolling your shoulders back, away from the ears. Be brave to bring your weight a little bit forwards to the toes. It can feel a bit precarious. Maybe some of you get the head down. You can really focus on stretching the arms. Good. Take a deep breath in. Good. As you exhale, release the hands down. Inhale, lift your chest and spin your feet. Crawl to the top of your mat. And we're going to step back to downward facing dog. Just take a few breaths there. So sometimes when we're a little bit more challenged in our practice and we have to work with the breath, we come back to the pranayama. So yoga and challenging yourself a little bit physically is really good for the mind, because if the mind is restless, it quite often feels quite satisfied after a physical practice. Bend the knees, inhale. Exhale, hop or step to the top of the mat. Hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, fold. And we're going to rise all the way to stand. Well done. Exhale, hands to your heart. And pause and breathe. Look straight ahead or just close your eyes. Connect to your pranayama. Okay. So we're going to bring the toes and the heels together. We'll sit down into our chair. We'll explore a few different things in our chair. We'll explore balance. We'll explore also descending and coming down onto the earth. So the first thing we'll do is sit down into our chair, sweeping the arms up. Okay. Now, one of the things I tend to find a lot is leaning forwards, too much forwards in the toes. So lift your chest as though your tailbone wants to root down behind you. The other thing is lift the hip points in and engage your bandhas, and that's going to help you sink the hips down. Good. Let's twist first. We're going to twist to the left, taking the right elbow to the outside. Now, if you can hook that elbow, that's great. Don't worry if you can't, because you can just leave the forearm there. That would be fine. And your left hand will be on your hip. And that helps you to barrel the ribs open. Now the left arm can reach up towards the sky. Okay? It's quite a deep twist that. Now, if you find it's just the forearm there, just try and slide that right elbow down and then bend and plant the palms together. Try and lift your chest. You have to press down through the toes to balance that weight in the heels. Really, really good. Now, as you inhale, we rise up to stand in our back bend. Shoot the fingertips all the way up. Root down through your tailbone and just lift your breastbone. You don't have to go far in your back bend. Sit down chair. Weight is in the heels. Look down to see your toes. Spread them wide. Good, and we twist to the right. So sometimes I take my right hand to my hip to guide. So I know my pelvis is level. Good. And then palms are in prayer. Lift the right arm up towards the sky. Now we're going to stay in prayer. Press the palms. Lift your left heel up so you are on the balls of the left toes. Lift your chest a little bit. Look forwards. And then guide that left leg straight back. Right? Okay. I know. Now you're going to step the left foot forwards again. In your prayer twist. Let's do that one more time. Lift the left heel up, hug the bandhas in, and then extend that left foot back. That leg is straight. Just pause, reach the right arm up towards the sky, the left arm down, and then come up. Lift your chest. You are in a lunge twist. A little bit precarious for me, that was. Don't worry about wobbles. And then inhale, sweep the right arm forwards. Good, and then exhale, hands to your heart, and you're going to step the left foot forwards. Come into Tadasana, reach your arms down. That itself is a bit of a balancing act. There's wobbles, don't worry. Take a deep breath in, let it go. All right, I know it's a little bit of a challenge, but why not? And it seems simple, doesn't it? But we have to focus. So sit your hips down and back. We're going to twist to the left. Let's do the same thing on this side. You know what's coming up. So we lift the right heel up, extend it back. You're in your prayer twist here. Lunge twist. Step the right foot forwards. Good. Lift the heel up, extend the leg back. Good. Find your balance. Now we're going to reach the left arm up. So lift your chest. And then extend the left arm back. Now that starts to bring you upright as the right arm comes forwards with control. So much better that second time. Inhale, look forwards, lift the left arm. Hands to your heart, and you're going to step it forwards. Come into Tadasana. Now reach your arms up, interlace the fingers, and press the palms up towards the sky. Good. We're going to sit back down into chair, this time making our way down onto the ground. So you have to lean forwards a little bit here to find your balance. And as you do that, you're going to sit back into your Navasana, lifting the feet up, bringing the hands down if that's better for you. You can find a little wiggle there if you need to. Bring the hands behind your thighs, toes face forwards. Good. Maybe you keep hold of the thighs and you extend the legs. Okay. Brilliant. So this is full boat. Hands to the heart, maybe. Now we're going to rock back into a half boat and do a little vinyasa. So as you rock back, your shoulders stay lifted, your legs are lifted. Good. And I'm going to rock up into our boat pose. Maybe the knees are bent. And then press the palms down for reverse table. Feet down. Push into the ground. Inhale, lift your hips. Look up at the sky. Exhale, hips down. Navasana, whichever Navasana you want, okay, either full boat, okay, with the knees bent or the legs straight, good. Now we're going to rock back into a half boat, okay, inhale, rise up, Navasana, press the feet down, hands behind you, lift your hips, inhale. Let's do that one more time. Full boat, half boat, rock up to full boat, press the feet down, back bend. Good, really nice. Let's come back to boat pose. So, if you want to keep your hands down, you can. Good. Now from here, bend the knees, cross the shins and grab hold of your ankles. Roll them underneath you. Roll onto the hands and step back into a chaturanga. So the elbows are bent. Now the knees could be down here if that's tricky. Release the toes, bring the knees down now and come all the way down onto your belly, onto your chest. So we'll do a few little back bends here. The first one is our Sphinx pose. Elbows are beneath the shoulders here, all right? We're going to explore eventually coming up to an inversion, but let's just take the Sphinx first. Spread the fingers wide and just pull your chest forward so you're lengthening from the pubic bone. The front body is getting really long. Your collarbones are broadening out to the side. Your tailbone is reaching back and your toes are lengthening back. Just keep looking forwards. Good. Now to do a roll up, what I find is if I bring my elbows a little bit closer in, that gives me a bit more purchase. And then as you exhale, draw the belly button into the body, round through your back, tailbone roots down. So it's like a cat back, and then roll it all the way down as you exhale. Your inhale, chest looks forward. Sphinx. Exhale, roll up. Inhale, pause at the top. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, look forwards. So the head doesn't have to move a lot here. Exhale, roll it up. Inhale at the top, and then roll it down as you exhale. Inhale, Sphinx pose. Okay, now this time I'm going to roll up. And then tuck your toes and come into a forearm Sphinx. And then let the head draw down and walk your feet forwards, lifting your hips up high. There's just a couple of steps with the feet. Good. If you need to make your elbows a little bit wider, just to be comfortable, you can. Great. So now this is our inversion. It's our forearm dog. Good, really nice. Or our feathered peacock. Now, some of us might be able to walk the feet forwards a little bit, leaning the shoulders forwards, lifting the right leg up. You're upside down. Good. You can explore lifting the left leg up. Good. And spreading the fingers wide. Those hands do want to go in and those elbows do want to splay out to the side. Don't let them. And then bring your knees down. Bring your arms back and relax and rest with your forehead onto the mat. Connecting to third eye, just breathe. Feel like you can really expand the breath into your back body, just breathing into those back ribs, back of the lungs. Good, really nice. On your inhale, roll up to kneel. Great. Hope that was all right for you on the shoulders and on the arms there. It takes practice. Now we're going to do this again, and just something that might help you with the hands not kind of coming in, which they might do, and the elbows sliding out. You want to hug those inner elbows in, spread the fingers wide. We're going to use a prop. So if you've got a brick, you can plant it down and take the corners of your thumb and your index finger on the corners of your brick. Knees are underneath your hips, and then plant the forearms down. So your inner index fingers are pressing onto the sides of the brick. Inner elbows are hugging in, but you're pushing down through the forearms. Let your head hang and look at the knees, lift the belly button in, tuck your toes, lift your hips up. So this is pincher. So Dolphin Pose. And it would lead us to start to work towards a forearm balance. But for now, we'll just kind of lift one leg up and then the other. I could only attempt to try and do this over the sofa or the wall because I often fall all the way over. But so just lift one leg up. Your chest has to be lifting away from the ground. Do not let that collapse. That's not great for the shoulders. And then let your shins come down. Relax everything. Arms back into your child's pose. Embryo child's pose. And just relax. Breathe. There's a lot of work around the shoulders. Just breathe. Very, very nice. Good. Just breathe. Let go. Let go of any effort there. We're often doing things that we're not used to. challenging the body in ways we're not used to. And it can bring up a little bit of kind of fight flight, I sometimes notice, a little bit of a fear factor sometimes. So just breathe, let it go. It's kind of the unknown as well, going upside down. Could I possibly balance on my forearms? It can be a bit scary, so just breathe, let it go. When you're ready, just roll up to kneel in Vajrasana. Vajrasana is a thunderbolt pose, quite a strong, fierce pose. Good. And we're going to take a mudra, so I'll face you. I'm going to take Vajra Pradhma Mudra, and we're going to thread the fingers, just lace them just lightly, just the tips of the fingers, like this. And then bring your hands towards your heart. This is a strengthening mudra. Mudra means seal. We're sealing into the heart space, connecting in. This is a mudra to strengthen your courage, fortify your inner strength. And it's actually means something like unshakable trust, right? What we mean by unshakable trust is almost like trusting without having any evidence that everything's going to be all right, right? No proof, all right? And it links into a quality that kind of seems quite wishy-washy, intangible, and it's hope. I feel hope's really important, right? Just to have that sense of possibility. Otherwise, the opposite is doom and gloom, isn't it? And we get a little bit down and depressed. So we're just really linking into something greater than ourselves. This is when we're going more into the realm of the Anandamaya Kosha, because really at the heart of it, yoga says we are okay. See if you can feel that unshakable trust within. And if you do find you're lacking in that feeling, this is a brilliant mudra to connect you to that. This is Vajra Pradhma Mudra. Unshakable trust. Very nice. Take a deep, deep breath in. And let your breath help you to uplift your spirits, uplift your mind, raise the vibration of your physical body, and then bring the palms together in Anjali Mudra. Just gently bow your head inwards in honor of yourself. Touch the hands to the third eye, and we're going to get ready to lie down on our backs. Taking those moments of pause to really connect a little bit more deeper than the outer layers of the being of this particular practice. We often come into it for the body initially. Extend your arms out towards the sides and almost making a sort of cross shape, and turn the palms up. Make sure the hands are a level that's comfortable for your shoulders. Really, really good. I'm going to float the right arm up towards the sky, straight up above the shoulder, and then see if you can touch that right hand towards the left. And that we do a little twist. We're going to roll onto the left side of the body. Inhale, float the right arm up, and you come back, the knees come up, and you place your right arm down, and then lift the left arm up towards the sky. And we're going to continue rolling from side to side with a nice full body twist, which really helps the hips and the shoulders. So we alternate. Right arm lifts, and as the palm reaches for the left, your legs follow and your head follows. The right arm lifts and comes all the way back around towards the ground. Lift the left arm straight up towards the sky, and the same thing, so we just keep going. So once you've evened out on both sides, you come back to our starting point. And we'll come back to a bridge pose. Slide your hands beside you. Arms are parallel. You might walk your heels a little bit closer to the bum to support you. Kneecaps pointing straight up ahead. Let the belly button sink into the body and then press into the feet. Inhale, lift your hips up and then gather your hands beneath you. As you interlace the fingertips, press down through the little fingers and lift the hips up. Good, very nice. Lengthen the tailbone away from you as you do the front body and see if you can lift your sternum a little bit higher. Chin draws down towards the throat, but there's still space. Take a deep breath in. We'll pause and hold it for 2 more breaths. That's 1. That's 2. So breathe in, slide the hands out. Exhale, roll your spine down, okay? We're going to do 1 more bridge, and I'm going to give you an option here, and actually an option to do maybe a wheel pose if you want to take your back bend a little bit further. But your second bridge could be a really nice restorative one, and this is something I really like to practice. So taking your brick, you would just lift your hips up, and the long edge, the narrow edge, is really nice. Some people like the top edge. I find that a bit too intense, especially as I've fallen on my sacrum before, so it's not great pressure. So side of the brick or the lower setting on the flatter edge is rather lovely, and you have a nice supported bridge there. If you want to take it further and practice your way into a wheel pose, then you start to take the palms down, fingertips touching your trapezius and the elbows lifting up towards the sky. The first part here would be to explore lifting the hips and taking pressure onto the hands. And the second one will be pushing into the feet, hands, and turning your head back. You might be able to lift up, but if you do lift up and then you come back down, make sure the back of the head is down first. You lift up your heels, that helps, gives you space, and then you can roll your back down. So up to you if you want to try that, but really go easy on the head, okay? A lot of it comes from the legs, that wheel pose. And if you have tried that, you think, well, that's enough of that, you can come into a nice supported bridge, nice and safe. And when we'll meet in the bridge, now, in your supported bridge, what can be really lovely, and you can explore this tentatively, making sure that you do have the right support on your pelvis here. You can start to extend maybe your left leg long. With the toes flexed, they're pointing up towards the sky. If you feel comfortable here, you can balance there and stretch the right leg, and that will give you a really beautiful supported back bend here. Your heart is going to lift up a little bit higher. Your arms are extended outwards, and you've got a really, really good stretch on the front body here, from your hip points to your belly, and then the front body. And if you're happy here, then take a few rounds of breath where you imagine you're breathing in through your crown, and then your breath is like water. It flows down through the body, over the chest, pulling into the belly, and then down along the legs like water flowing through a riverbank. And you can do 2 more rounds. Of course, stop if this doesn't feel good. You can come out. The toes really are flexed a little just to support the balance on the back of the pelvis, but you can relax the toes a little bit if you feel that you're okay with that. So feeling that prana is washing through the body, and when you're ready, slide your left heel back, plant the foot down, engage your glutes, and then slide the right heel back, and just pause there. Take a breath, plant both feet down, and start to lift your pelvis up from the brick. enough that you can slide the brick out, and then very, very, very slowly you're going to roll your spine all the way back down, vertebra by vertebra, and getting in touch with the chakras on the back body. Good, really nice. So you're laying your spine back down like you would a baby into its crib. Great. Now hug the knees in. Squeeze and wrap your arms around. Lift your head. Lay your head back down and just rock your knees from side to side. Now we're going to finish with a supported back bend kind of Shavasana, so that we can really engage with pranayama, and this will help to keep a sense of lightness that you can enter the rest of your day with. Because when our breath is really open and uninhibited, our mind is freer, our mind and our emotions are lighter. So, and as I said this week, our breath is so much tied into our emotions. So roll onto your side and really get yourself nicely set up for this. So you might want to place on your mat a blanket, something that's going to be nice and soft. And then if you've got a bolster, that will work. If you don't, just grab maybe a couple of cushions or a couple of pillows. That will serve well. The other thing to get hold of is we want a nice little scarf that's going to go over the eyes. You'll want a blanket over you as well to cover you. So I'm just going to grab a couple of things. Now when you rest your head on your bolster, if you need a cushion to lift the head, and actually I do find that I do, so I'm going to grab that. Or a folded up blanket, placing it at the end there. Come and sit on the ground, and you'll just lay your back across your prop, getting your blanket ready and covering your feet. Now you can start off with the knees bent first, just to guide yourself down. And then when you come down, you really want your back to be supported. Now, quite often if your bolster's very big and bulky, you'll find you'll have a little gap around the lower back. That's absolutely fine. It's the back of the ribs you really want lifted here. And then head is supported, neck is nice and long and free. Maybe you extend your legs from there if you're happy there. Settle in. Explore that. If you need to keep the knees bent, the knees in, the feet wide, that's fine. And we're going to stay here for a few minutes. So wiggle in, let your arms straight to the side. Now, once you know you're comfortable, this is the bit that's really lovely, is taking your scarf or your blanket over your eyes and just covering. And what I like to do here is just kind of gather that around the head. So it's really comforting around your brain, your skull. You might even have the luxury of a couple of cushions as armrests. That would be an addition there. That would be gorgeous. But if not, just let the elbows soften down. Arms are draping, the palms are turning up. And feel just like that feeling of water flowing through the body or along a riverbed and through those curves. We're going to imagine that the breath is pouring down gently into the pool of the belly and the pelvis. And if you slow down the breath and take your time to breathe, you'll feel the breath rising up. There might be a point where it feels a little bit more intense, maybe around the back of the ribs, but just soften the breath. Until you feel that breath rising all the way up towards the top of your collarbones, where you know you have a full breath in the lungs. So we're going to breathe quite consciously here for the next minute or so and then completely let go of all effort. But for now, it's to explore the fullness of the breath and how you can breathe into the side ribs. Feeling like the breath breathes right into the armpits there as you open up the side ribs. And if you can imagine that you had a holographic view of the inside of your ribs, your chest, and you could visualize your lungs, see them inflating in all directions, front, back, sides, bottom, middle, top. And now start to relax all effort whatsoever in your focus, in your breath. And then if you want to here, you can actually bend the knees, roll to the side, come out and come into Shavasana, where your back will be flat on the ground and perhaps your bolster will be underneath your knees, which I feel like doing right now. So up to you. If you feel happy staying, you can stay. So it's rather nice to take the Shavasana, but totally up to you and what you feel. And then just rest quietly. You're going to rest completely quietly for just the next couple of minutes or so. Complete stillness. Now start to bring your awareness back to where you are, but just maintain your absolute stillness. Just keep still. I'm going to read you a poem by Donna Forbes. It's called One Soul. When one soul is set ablaze by truth, the whole universe ignites. And for an instant, light reaches every corner, cave and crevasse. When the heart remembers what it is, joined in vastness, by joy and suffering, both the future and the past dissolve like snowflakes on the tongue. There is nowhere to run, no reason to do anything but rest in the cradle of the cosmos, rocked in the arms of emptiness, and held in the embrace of love. Take a slower, deeper breath. Start to stretch out, reawakening. You can bend one knee at a time and hug your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around, give yourselves a hug and a little rock from side to side. Bringing with you any sense of that peace you may have experienced in your Shavasana. Make your way up to sit. Bring your hands to your heart space, and you might like to bring awareness back to your Sankalpa. Let it echo through your mind space a few times. And let your practice serve you and others well. Well done for your efforts. Namaste.